When these pronominal suffixes are attached to a noun, they are attached to the construct form of the noun. Singular nouns will take type 1 suffixes with minor changes. So the paradigm of the noun, masculine singular, with suffixes is as follows. Again, starting with the third masculine singular, his. Suso, susa, susaka, susake, susi. And then in the plural, susam, susan, susakim, susakin, susenu. You'll notice that in each of these cases, the suffix indicates the possessive pronoun with which you should translate in English. So susenu is the first common plural possessive suffix on the construct singular form sus. Accordingly, because this is first common plural, we say our horse. Likewise, susaka, ka is the second masculine singular suffix on the construct singular form sus. Because it's second masculine singular in the suffix, we say your masculine singular horse, etc. In the feminine, again, you take type 1 suffixes. They are attached to the construct form of the noun. Susato, susata, susatka, susatake, susati. And then in the plural, susatam, susatan, susatkem, susatken, susatenu. And notice that there is a slight alteration that only the second feminine plural and second masculine plural forms have a patak, with all the rest of the forms having a kametz. When attaching the suffixes to plural nouns, on the other hand, the type 3 suffixes are used. So when approaching a masculine plural noun and then wanting to have possession, the paradigm would be as follows. Susav, suseha, suseka, susayik, susai. And then in the plural, susehem, susehen, susekem, suseken, susenu. Just as with the singular forms, the suffix tells us what possessive pronoun we should use in English. If the suffix is kim, second masculine plural, then we use your masculine plural. The suffix always indicates the possession. Now, however, in a plural form, we are attaching the suffixes to the plural noun, and so we say horses, because the noun itself is plural, which is most easily seen in the A of the masculine plural form. When attaching nouns, the feminine plural noun with suffixes, we then would use susot, the feminine plural construct form, and would attach the type 3 suffixes. Susotav, susoteha, susoteka, susotayik, susotai. And then in the plural, susotehem, susotehen, susotekem, susoteken, susotenu. Again, recognize that the suffix provides the possessive. If we have kaf, the second feminine singular suffix, then we have your feminine singular. Because this is a feminine plural, susot, construct, we have mares, the feminine, and then the plural of the noun. You do not need to memorize the noun paradigms with the suffixes. These noun paradigms with suffixes attached are simply the application of the paradigms you will have already learned from section 2 to both masculine and feminine nouns. You should, however, study these paradigms until you are able to identify both the noun and the suffix which is attached to that noun, so that you can translate the forms you are seeing. The addition of pronominal suffixes to nouns will lengthen the word. In many cases, that lengthening of the word in question will cause changes which are starting to become familiar to you. First, propretonic reduction is quite common. We would have davar, which is simply a two-syllable word, da, var. Var, the last syllable, is the tonic, da is pretonic. The addition of the suffix o, third masculine singular, will lengthen the word. We now have a three-syllable word, de, va, ro. Ro is now the tonic syllable. The pretonic is va, and the propretonic is de. Recognize in that type of situation, we have had a reduction. The comets of the initial first syllable, now that it is propretonic, has reduced to a vocal schwa. In many other cases, the addition of the suffix and the vowel reduction will cause two vocal schwas in succession, which will yet again trigger what we call the rule of schwa. For instance, you have sudaka, a three-syllable word, su-da-ka, tonic, pretonic, and propretonic. The addition of the same suffix, third masculine singular, o, causes now a different syllable structure for the word. Su-da-ka-to. To is now the tonic syllable, ka is pretonic, de is propretonic, and then su is the first syllable. But recognize that you cannot in fact have, according to the rule of schwa, two vocal schwas in a row. Su-de-ka-to doesn't exist. Instead, the rule of schwa causes sid-ka-to, with the first of the two vocal schwas becoming direct, the second becoming silent. 6 additional notes are in order about the attaching of suffixes to nouns. First, when you attach a suffix to a segolate noun, again the type of noun we discussed in Chapter 6, Section 1, the original vowel pattern, katal, kittal, or kuttal, is often now evident again because of the change in the syllable structure of the word. Some cases, however, vowel reduction will leave the syllable structure intact, and therefore you will not have a reflection of the original form. For instance, melech, the segolate meaning a king, when we attach the third masculine plural suffix, am, will become mal-kam. The attaching of am at the end creates a two-syllable word, and in the two-syllable word, the original a vowel of the katal form comes back. The original would have been malk, and we see with am a first mal syllable. In 2 Samuel 12:30, for instance, we have Ateret Malkam, the crown of their king. So note this is a construct phrase. We have a construct form, Ateret, and then we have the absolute form, Malkam. Malkam is a segolate noun from melech, as you would look it up in your lexicon. Is the possessive suffix. Also, because the word has a possessive suffix, it is considered definite, and we therefore translate the construct phrase, the crown of their king. In the case of mulakim, kings, however, the original form will not be seen because the addition of the suffix does not change the syllable structure. If we add, for instance, anu, we have mulakenu, and you still have vowel reduction to create the vocal schwa under the mem. In other words, though this is still a katal form, it isn't seen in the text because you simply have a vocal schwa. For instance, Ezra 9:7, anachnu malakenu kohanenu. We, which is the independent personal pronoun anachnu, our kings, melech in the plural, with the suffix anu, the first common plural suffix. and then the same basic form, kohanenu, kohen, priests, but in the plural, and then with the addition of the first common plural suffix. We, our kings, our priests. Second, when dealing with geminate nouns, which we covered in Chapter 6, Section 2, remember that the geminate nouns have a doubled second and third root letter. In the singular forms of such nouns, that doubled letter is rarely indicated, but you will recall that in plural forms, or other forms with ending, the gemination would often reappear. There would be an indication, usually via a dagesh forte, of the doubled root letter. We see this, for instance, with a people, but itself, a people, is from the geminate root ayin, mem, mem. In this case, with the possessive suffix reattached, it's as if as soon as you trap the mem and don't let it into the word, the doubling comes back. So the third masculine singular suffix, his, o, attached to creates amo, with now a doubling of the mem, indicated by the dagesh forte. The rule of thumb will be, in roots that are originally geminate, if you add something to the end and trap the geminate letter, it will usually show you its doubling, at least with the dagesh forte. For instance, Exodus 1:9, Vayomer el amo. Vayomer is the form and he said, which we will cover soon in the grammar. El is the preposition to, and then his people. Similarly, hok, a statute, comes from a geminate root, pet, kof, kof. When you trap the kof by the addition of a suffix at the end, such as the third masculine plural suffix, we have hukam. Note the gemination, the doubling of the kof via a dagesh forte. For instance, in Leviticus 18:3, uvahukotehem lo teleku, and in their statutes you shall not walk. The verb teleku is an imperfect from halak. Lo is the negative particle, and then we have the vav, and, attached to this prepositional prefix, ba, and then the form hukotehem. Hem is the possessive suffix, third masculine plural, there. So, and in their statutes, the construct form of kok in the plural. Third, when suffixes are attached to nouns containing a diphthong, as we discussed first in Chapter 4, Section 2, the contraction of the diphthong occurs. This is because, again, the suffixes are attached to the construct forms of the noun. So we have mavet, death, but mavet in construct is mot. And so the addition of the suffix is attached motah, her death. For instance, 1 Samuel 4:20, uka'et motah, and around the time, the conjunction and, around, the prefix preposition. 8 is the construct noun, time of, and then motah, the construct form, mot, of mavet, with the third feminine singular possessive suffix, her death. This construct phrase, then, is definite because the absolute noun, mavet, is possessed by the possessive suffix, a. Fourth, remember that some nouns have irregular construct forms. If you have an irregular construct form, the possessive suffixes will be attached to that irregular suffix form. For instance, we have av, father, but the construct form was avi. The addition of the suffix then will be to avi. You have aviha. In this case, if you wonder why you do not have aviha, but instead you have aviha, it's because of the stress moving to the second syllable. Genesis 31:35, Vatomer el aviha. Vatomer is a narrative form that we will discuss in a couple chapters, glossed as and she said. El is the preposition to, and then avi is the construct form of the noun av, father, and the ha is the third feminine singular possessive suffix, her father. Fifth, the two common nouns, bane and shame, son and name, will reduce their vowel with the addition of a suffix. In other words, the tsere vowel in each of these words will become a vocal schwa. Often, you will then have an application of the rule of schwa because you would have two vocal schwas in a row. For instance, with bane, son, the addition of the suffix e, first common singular, my, creates not bani, but bani, my son. Judges 8:23, below Yimshol b'nei bachem, and not Yimshol, will rule. This is a cal imperfect of the verb mashal. Bani, my son, bachem. This is the preposition bait plus the second masculine plural suffix. It's an object suffix of the preposition over you, you being masculine plural. And my son will not rule over you. On the other hand, with an example of the rule of schwa, you have bane, son, but with your son, it's not b'nka. Even though the vowel reduces, this is a form that cannot last because of the rule of schwa. So instead of b'nka, you get binka. 1 Samuel 16:19. Shilcha Eli et David binka. It's a command, send, cal imperative, to me, the preposition el plus the suffix I, et, which marks the definite direct object, David, the object, the one who is sent. So send to me David, and then David is described with binka, your son. This is the form bane, but in construct, ben, and with the addition of the suffixes, you would have the form bu, but the rule of schwa will not allow it, and so instead of bunaka, you have binka. Similarly with the noun shame, meaning name. Normally, the sere will reduce to a schwa. His name would be Shemo. Genesis 4:26. Vayikra et Shemo Enosh. Vayikra is what we call a cal narrative form that we will cover in a future chapter. And he called. Marker of the definite direct object. His name, and then the name itself, Enosh, Enosh. But you cannot, when again adding a form that would create two schwas in a row, sustain that. So when you would have vowel reduction to sh, m, ka, the two schwas in a row by the rule of schwa become shim ka. So your name, Shem ka. Genesis 17:5. V'haya Shemcha Avraham. But your name will be, a form we'll return to later, your name, Shemcha Avraham. Sixth, the two common nouns isha, which glosses as woman or wife, and bat, which glosses as daughter, revert to more original forms, more historically original forms of the noun. Isha will revert to isht plus the suffix. So the addition of the first common singular suffix, my, which is e, creates ishti. Hosea 2:4. He, lo, ishti. For independent personal pronoun she, lo negating it, not my wife. Likewise, bat, daughter, becomes, with the addition of suffixes, a more original form, bito. O is the third masculine singular suffix. The original form of the noun, bit, and note the dagesh in the tav. For instance, 1 Chronicles 7:24, uvito se'era, and his daughter, the conjunction vav plus his daughter, was she'era, her name.